Right, so Anthony, thank you for coming, having a chat. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Very well, thank you. Um, Finished for the week now, so it's obviously Friday evening. What better thing to do on a Friday night than sitting home and do another Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I'm off for the weekend now. First time in a long time I'm not working
Mm,
on Saturday. I do Saturday mornings, but don't work Sundays, with it being the
mm.
school holidays and half my students disappearing on their own holidays. I've got a weekend off, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. Always good to have the weekend to yourself. And
Yeah, exactly. Do you normally work weekends?
I mean, I used to do Saturdays. When I first started, I was doing 7 days a week because obviously you first started, you knew you want to kind of keep working. Um, Whereas now I only do Saturdays, but I charge a higher price for Saturdays. So I've got a few pupils that are paying like £80 an hour for Saturdays. Sundays I'm always off, so that's just my day off. I'm always just church in the morning or family time, and but yeah, so I do a few bits maybe Saturday morning, but um, usually I'm just a more Monday to Friday kind of guy.
So your diary management's interesting. I know we had a chat on the phone about it. Can you tell me about your first off your diary management, so how you run your lessons, and then we'll maybe move on to how you get your students to fill those spaces, so that maybe I can steal your idea and make it work for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, same as most driving instructors, I started off just doing the 1 hour, 2 hour, 90-minute style lessons. And with a lot of people, you get cancellations, oh, short notice. So um, I started to use my drive time, and there's other things like Total Drive and Go Roadie Pro. Um, I start with more just 2 hours, and then when kind of more over COVID, I think everyone was off work, and because there was such a backlog of lessons and tests, and you kind of needed to get pupils passing through the test and next. Um, and I kind of went for more. Well, actually, I was doing as everyone does the Zoom quizzes, and I was chatting to a lady who does intensive course company. So met up, was talking, and just kind of inspired me to hang on. Why do 2 hours, half an hour drive or travel time in between, and the next pupil, and then 2 hours, and then half an hour. Um, Whereas now I tend to do more intensive courses per se. So I might have maybe a Monday to Friday, one pupil test on a Friday, or I tend to just sell dates now. So I've got my diary for all the way up October, November, December as kind of Monday to Friday, 10 till 4. So I just sell days. So I say to a pupil, they ask me when I'm in lessons because everyone kind of asks, oh, how much is your hourly rate or how much for 2 hours? So I say, well, I do, these are the dates I have. Monday's 12th of October, let's say, is I've got 10 a.m. for 6 hours. And they're like, oh, a lot of people maybe kind of take aback. Oh, I never thought of driving that non-stop. I said, okay, we're not non-stop driving, but we're driving and then stopping, evaluating. We can go through show me, tell me questions, obviously toilet breaks and build in, get some food. And even while they're sitting, maybe they want McDonald's drive through, we can talk about, okay, well, that was good. That was not so good. How can we improve on? Um, Whereas it's no travel time for me. So for me, it's great. I travel to the pupil in the morning. By the time I finish, I'm back home. So I've saved an hour a day. If I was doing 9:30, 2 hours, and then half an hour travel work in between, or just give me plenty of time to get to the next pupil. 12 till 2, half an hour travel time, get to next pupil, 4:30 finish. So already 9:30 start, 4:30 finish. That extra hour I've cut out. Um, and then once I've got a pupil, especially where I live now, whereas before North London, yeah, you can get, there's a lot of test centres locally, whereas now it takes me about half an hour from where I live to get to the nearest test centre, where some pupils 30, 40 minutes. So you do well, 1 hour lesson, you're not going to get to the test centre. 2 hours, yeah, maybe get there, drive around a little bit, then come back home. Whereas the day sessions, we can get up to the test centre, maybe do a mock test cover a few routes, do some tricky bits. Or even I've had some pupils, let's go to Cambridge, let's go to Peterborough, let's go to St Albans, let's go to London, let's go to, I know, Hunstanton, let's go Chrome, let's have a day trip somewhere, and do it completely different. Why does driving lessons have to be 1 hour or 2 hours? Why can't it be 8 hours? Why can't it be the whole day? Yeah, okay, we were with that one person, but ideally doing an assessment before, so obviously you get to know them, they get to know you. You might not want to be in the car with that same person. But yeah, I think for me, it just makes my diary a lot easier because I know where I'm working each day. And also because I do manual and automatic, there's no point in me going, doing a lesson, come home, swap over cars. I know which car I've got for the day. So then I'm ready, go out, come back. And it's kind of saves me because now I just do the diary on my phone. I just use the what is it? It's just a calendar that comes with the phone on the iPhone. And copy and paste the pupils' details in, and if they've got every Tuesday for 6 hours, it just remembers their name. Yep, easy enough. They book and pay for in advance. It's already there. I've literally done all the admin at home. Turn up, teach, go home. And I'm kind of, if anything, I'm in debt to the pupils because they've already paid for lessons. I've got to work it off. But I can kind of forward manage my money a bit better rather than the old style, maybe turn up, oh, okay, you haven't got cash, we'll drive to the cash machine, withdraw the cash, and then I'm getting the money, yes, okay, on the lesson. But then you're expecting that pupil, and if they cancel and they're paying cash, they don't do that lesson. Okay, pay me double next week. No, I'm not paying you for a lesson I've not had. So I think for me, I found what I enjoy doing more, and what works best for me. I know I've spoken to some instructors, they prefer, I only like to do 1 hour or 2 hours, or you've got to kind of play around and see what you enjoy doing best, I suppose. Yeah.
Do you find they're more invested if they're paying for a day's training, so you get less cancellations in general doing what you do now compared to what you used to do?
Yeah, I mean, with cancellations, if they had a 1 hour lesson or 2 hour, they feel like, oh, it's not that much. I'll cancel the lesson. I'll do it next week. Or whereas if they've got a day session, if they cancel that, I mean, first of all, I say, you've got to let me know in advance, because if you cancel a day, my whole day's gone. And because they pay in advance, if it's less than, I do at least 3 working days notice, that day's gone. It's paid for. I've got to charge for it. But it's very unlikely someone cancels like the courses or a day course at short notice, unless they're very ill or dying or something similar. Because if they're going for more intensive courses, they want to, learn to drive, yes, but pass the test. They want to get it done as quickly as possible because they need it maybe for work. So for them to cancel, it's unlikely because, it stops their goal of learning to drive and passing the test, because they need their license for work. They need their license to advance their career. For a job interview, they say, yeah, I've got a full driving license. Whereas, I mean, it's a rare occasion if I get a cancellation now. Sometimes I wish I did. I could stay at home and get paid for it. But if anything, too busy, which is great.
It's what you want. Do you market it as intensive, or when people message you for lessons, you just sell kind of what you offer? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I would say I've marked it as intense. I mean, on my website, it's got intensive courses. So I still advertise as kind of the lesson price for like single lesson. But it's more because sometimes if I do a 10 till 4 day, sometimes I do get some evenings. So maybe I do a 5 till 7. So I still do the traditional 2 hour lesson. For some people can't get time off work, or they can only do the evenings. So I say, I can do evenings, but it's higher price as long as you're prepared to pay for that. So they're, oh yeah, okay. Or maybe I do one lesson with them in the evening, Then they want to do the intensive course, so they might do, okay, great, I can do every Tuesday for 6 hour days. Right, let's plan it around your test. On average, a new pupil does 40, 50 hours before passing the test. Let's book your lessons in around the test. It's better to do more hours than less because, well, you want to pass first time. And then this is the price of the course. I work out how many hours, and then they book the test. We just work the hours around the test. They book in, they're paid for, and I just open my account on the banking app and just say, yep, okay, you've paid, thanks, money received. These are the lessons, dates and times. Job done. Just makes my life so much easier.
Yeah, it's something that I've been questioning for a while, is that time between students. I think I'm doing around 2 hours a day driving from one place to the next, which is almost part of the job. But I do think there's got to be better ways to manage it. And I think what you're doing solves a problem that I'm struggling with at the minute, because it's long days when you're doing 4, maybe 5 students. And if you cover a large area as well, it's even more of a problem.
Yeah, I think the funny thing I heard of, I mean, I was speaking to an old driving instructor who, like back in the day, the pupils used to come to the office. So he wasn't driving to pupils' houses. He was just doing the lessons from the office. They'd come to the office, do the lesson. He'd always end up at the office. So it's either that side of things, having a fixed central location, or meet me at the train station. So you're not driving too far afield. Or the old kind of piggybacking method. So one pupil drives to the next pupil's house, they drop off the next pupil. So you're not having travel time in between. The pupils are doing a travel time for you, which, yeah, the funny thing is, it's not wrong, but it's always, I think, in the industry been frowned upon. Like, you should be one-to-one tuition. Yeah, okay, it's good that someone can watch and learn from other people doing. But a lot of people were saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, kind of another pupil in the back. And it's the GDPR, they see their house, I suppose. Yeah, there's ways of doing things, but there's no set way you have to do things. You're self-employed, you can literally do whatever you like. But yeah, it's finding that what works best and adapting.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, and certainly something that I'm gonna look at. How do you manage the driving tests? Obviously, we've got the backlog at the minute, but do you find in general your students are ready based on the timeline that you've given them for their test? You have many people that aren't ready a few weeks out. How do you manage that with
It,
your diary?
yeah, I mean, you always get the kind of people that say, oh, I've got a test book for next week. And, well, to be honest, very rarely can I help them. But sometimes I get pupils that have maybe failed the test somewhere else, and they've booked their own test, because very rarely, I can't remember if I've ever booked a driving test myself. Very rarely would I. But the lesser work I can do, I get the pupils to do the work. So I get them to book a test and then plan the lessons around that. So I'd always try and advise them to do more hours than less. And then, so by the time they go for the test, if they don't pass the driving test, then, well, the wait is going to be months. So it's better to do more lessons than less. But let's say they don't pass the driving test. Right, get on, book another driving test. The Gov website at the moment is probably showing December. But there's apps that can use like Testy. So then sometimes if I can move pupils around, or maybe if I've got, let's say, a test in the morning, instead of doing a 10 till 4 pupil, I can do a 12 till 4 test in the morning. So then I can accommodate. Generally, if someone's doing like a 6 hour day, if they did 4 hours, or move it around, we do 4 hours this day and then 6 that day, because they got the time off work. Oh yeah, I'm not doing anything. Oh, I was doing the thing. So people a bit more flexible with you. But because I'm booking the, or not, I'm booking the pupils are booking the test so far in advance, then we can work backwards with the lesson. So kind of, oh, our test is November the 26th. Okay, right, let's book in some lessons October, November, 6 hours, and then the test day. Usually with a driving test, I don't know, let's say the test is 11:11. I pick them up an hour before, drive up to the test center, last minute bits, nothing too crazy. On the test, come back home, debriefing. So it kind of equates to about 3 hours, the time before on test and back home, especially because it's further away. If the test center was 5 minutes down the road, then yeah, maybe just 2 hours. But so kind of a test is about maybe a third or half of the day, depends how I want to manage it. If I really wanted, I could squeeze the 8-10 test times in, and then by the time they finish 9, getting back home 9:30, I could still do my full day, because if they get home by 9:30, then drive to the pupil at 10. But I don't really want to get up that early and leave the house. So I kind of advertise my pupils booked at 11:11 test time. So I start at 10:11 hour before. It includes in my day, and then I can still do a pupil later on in the afternoon. But yeah, I like mid-morning tests.
So you still get your lie-in?
Oh yeah. Well, I say lying. I always wake up early because I've got kids, but I wake up in bed playing around with my phone, doing other avenues that I do with, like we talked about, the cryptocurrency. But yeah, the different bits like that. Help out with the kids' breakfast, and but also when it is school time, I'll get up early. I can drop the kids off at school. Wife can be at home. Okay, making lunch or kind of cleaning the house and the kids destroying everything. So it's that balance, because a lot of people become driving instructors because they don't want the Monday to Friday 9 till 5 where they go to an office in London, or they want to work, I don't know, 12 till 2 each day, or they just want to work it around their current job, because it's supposed to be flexible.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons, amongst others, that I got into the industry. And I've not given myself the flexibility that I came into it for. I'm easing off now. I was working long days, coming home for a couple of hours and then heading back out again. So it's the flexibility is there, but there becomes the balance of, well, how much do you want to earn, and what is there? So how do you find marketing then? There's been clearly a lot of students recently, and everyone's got waiting lists and things like that. But I would imagine now you can't get a test for the next 6 months if you're lucky. I think requests for driving lessons are probably going to start slowing. I might be wrong. But how are you marketing your business? How are you getting your students?
So, I mean, I do a lot because it's a very funny thing, because everyone says about waiting lists. I just don't do waiting lists. I just say this is the next availability I have. Whereas I spoke to one driving instructor and they say I only like to book 2 weeks ahead of time. So if they get a pupil, this is my Monday pupil, 9 till 11. And they just block off their Monday 9 till 11 for the rest of time until they pass. And then once they pass their driving test, then that slot becomes open. But hang on, if you've got multiple pupils booking their test on that week and loads pass, great, well done. You've lost 3, 4, 5 pupils. You've lost 5, let's say 2 hours. That's 10 hours a week you suddenly lost. Whereas whether my pupils pass or fail or not, I've already booked in someone else ahead of time, because they might not have the same regular slot, but I'm just selling the days. So it's a case of, I do my website I've had made. It's got the SEO and all the local everything, that, so it does rank highly on Google. I do Facebook, the Facebook pages, the Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, business cards. I've got flyers, and well, when I moved up to my area about 2 years ago, I put business cards at the local bus stops. Great idea, because people waiting around for a bus, they need to drive. Leafleting, got a local company to deliver leaflets. My car's got the signs, magnets, but I had a previous car with graphics, so it's got the phone number on the side. I've got a uniform, so people literally see me in a chicken shop that goes, "Oh, boss, you do driving lessons." So I've got a card. Yeah, okay, give me a call. Or I do local networking meetings where, let's say there's a meeting near me that's got 20, 30 people, for instance, a plumber, paint and decorator, electrician. They go there, say what business they're looking for, what I'm looking for, and everyone kind of helps each other to get business. So they refer each other online. So kind of, I'd say I'm a very sociable person. I go out and talk to people and meet people, and people know I'm a driving instructor, because it's the only way I either do it anymore is if I had an L plate on my head, because I know some that they don't like to say they're a driving instructor, or they don't talk about it, and they might say, "Oh, I didn't know you was a driving instructor. Oh, I need lessons for my cousin," or But if you don't tell everyone, no one might book in with you, and they say, "Oh, well, I booked in with the Red Driving School because I don't know any local driving instructors. I've been your neighbour for 10 years." And, but it happens because if you're not putting yourself out there, like you said, people just hear about the big franchises. They might not know about a local instructor because they don't do as much. But yeah, so I try and do as much as I can to get as much business as I can. So then I just say my next availability now is October dates. So I just put notes in my phone and say, copy and paste. These are the dates I have. These are the prices. Once you've paid, the lesson's booked in. It's only booked in my diary once it's paid. So then I've not got a waiting list as such. I've just got next dates you can book in. And then once it's paid, it's booked in, I just move on to the next dates. So whereas having a waiting list, it might be good for some, but if they don't pay a deposit, you've just got someone's phone number and a name. When you call them, "Oh, sorry, it took too long. I've moved on to a different driving school." It's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I think that's my way of doing it. Some people prefer doing waiting lists. Some people contact them, come back. "Oh, I've got free space." Okay, if that works for them. But yeah, for me, it's been that if I find I'm booking too far ahead and I've got very little space, I just raise my prices. If I get really quiet, I say, "Oh, okay, I'm doing a special offer this month." Same with any business. I'm there to make a profit. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy teaching. But it gives me that flexibility to see if I'm too busy, raise the price. If I'm too quiet, do some kind of special offer. But I think because I've been able to study business at college, sixth form, university level, I know about how things that could help me and benefit. And I try and help others, driving instructors, whether they want to hear it or not. But I'd always say if someone wanted help and wanted my advice, I'm always happy to talk, and go forward from there.
We'll leave a link to your website in the description when
Yeah,
this goes out.
yeah.
Um, but with your diary as well, roughly how many students do you tend to have on your books at any one time then? Because I'm going
So
to guess it's a lot less than what I have on mine at the minute.
yeah, I mean, well, when I used to do that kind of the single lesson, the 1 hour, 2 hours, I would literally maybe have 30, 40 pupils a week, maybe. Whereas now I'd say, well, if I go through, I mean, I know some days I still do maybe a few evenings, but like today I had a bit of a different one. So I had a test. So I had today 3 pupils. Yesterday was 1, Wednesday was 1, Tuesday was 2 because I did an evening one. Monday was 1. So really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in 1 week. But that's a busy week. Whereas a normal week might be, if I had a different pupil each day, Monday to Friday, it might be just 5. If I had the same pupil, it might be just 1. They might do a Monday to Friday, just that pupil. And then Tuesday next week is their test. But then someone else might want to book in. I say, well, these are the dates I've got. Get your test booked in. We plan around that. We can get this course package booked in, and yeah, because it's some. I think it's a case of you're doing drive lessons, but you want to aim towards a goal. Whereas if you're doing maybe 1 hour a week, on average, let's say 50 hours, that's going to be nearly a whole year before you're ready for your test. So yeah, good planning out. But okay, with holidays as well, or if they're sick, and um, yeah, it kind of does drag out. Whereas I want to get them through, pass, next, yep, put a review on my Facebook, my website, Google, and move on forwards.
Yeah, it's interesting. And like you said there, I've got quite a few people waiting for their driving test, and I would imagine a lot of them are gonna be within a very short space of time. And then I'm gonna be chasing maybe 4 or 5 students to fill those 4 or 5 slots in a week. Whereas when you get a pass, you've only got one slot to fill, and chances are it's already filled because you can book almost 3 months in advance the way you're managing your diary,
Yeah.
which relieves a lot of stress, I would
Oh yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Not to chase 5 pupils a week, just get one person booked in and I'm done. So kind of it. I think it's a case of at the end of the day, everyone wants just an easy life. They want to kind of, what's going to make my life easier. That's why we're doing autonomous cars, chat GPT, whatever, trying to make our life as automated as possible. So yeah, life just is a lot easier to deal with. And for me, that's what makes it easier. Just they book in, they pay, I turn up, I teach, and I go home. Job done.
It's good. You mentioned a minute ago, I'd like to go back there because I'm on the fence at the minute with one local to me, was the networking events. Did you find
Mm-hmm.
they was beneficial for either your business and as well as networking with other people in theirs?
Yeah, I think you know what it is. It's a case of if you've never been to a network event, well, you don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's a case of when I first heard about a network event, I got an email from someone saying, "Oh, it's a networking event." Da, da, da. It was an early morning breakfast thing. So I turned up. It was early. You got breakfast. Obviously, you paid for it, or if you was a visitor, sometimes it's free. But I stood up and said, Anthony, I'm a driving instructor. I'm looking for pupils who want to learn to drive and do the weekly lessons. They pass their test, and I'm looking for pupils maybe specifically in this school because that's the school closest to where I want to work. Someone who maybe go, oh, I'm a governor of that school, or oh, my kid goes to that school. Let me talk to the sixth form teacher. So I've got a connection straight away to do, instead of just one pupil, they could get me 20 pupils because they could put a flyer in the sixth form common room. So in that side of things, I'm maybe, or the plumber might say, I'm looking for driving lessons. I struggled to find someone for my son. I didn't, or my daughter. I didn't trust any other driving instructors, but I've met you. I know you. You're here each week. I want you to teach my daughter. So it's a case of getting to know, like, and trust someone that they can refer you, you can refer them. And it's helped me presentation skills and, public speaking, I suppose. And trying to help someone else's business so they help my business grow as a business myself. But it's definitely helped for that in the local area. And I'd recommend it to anyone, even if they just went as a visitor to pop along, because it's a case of you might not know who you know, or might not know someone else knows someone that you know, and you could get, I know, a contract for fleet work or something you didn't even think about. But I think networking meetings, I was a member for 2 years of one in just outside North London, as a member for one up here when I moved up, which was great. But I got so busy that, well, not that I wanted to leave, but it's a case of there's no point me paying my membership and consistent when I'm paying for something that I'm not really getting, or I can't fit pupils in until I either become like a franchise and stuff, or take on other driving instructors, or find a way to scale. Because in my area, there's very few instructors locally. The ones that are independent, that no, I don't want to take on your work. I'm happy doing my own thing. Okay, great. Or they're already with a franchise, they're tied in a contract. So I'm like, okay, that's great for you, but I want driving instructors. I've got too much work. I either put my prices up and become more specialized, or build a franchise and try and find good quality driving instructors who I can trust that will take on my work and it won't ruin my reputation. But I think once you've got one or two instructors, going from there is good, but trying to make that jump is very difficult. So I try and just maybe do different avenues of money making schemes as such. But for me, it's worked very well. I've been able to move up here, buy a house, get a mortgage, and survive through COVID. Yeah, pay off debts and everything, and aim towards financial freedom.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've been following a group. I'm down in Swindon, and there's a business networking group that I've been keeping an eye on. And I'd not really approached it from that thought process that you had. I'm like, yeah, I'm a business, but I'd not thought of it from the networking side. I mean, I've started a podcast to network with people. Why don't I
Yeah,
go and network in person as well? It's yeah, so that's an interesting look on it. And I'm now going to have to go and turn up, tell them who I am, and see what else is going on in the area as well, and just make those connections. Because being a driving instructor, you don't have. I mean, I've got a few hobbies, so I've got friends. I'm not in the house an awful lot, but you don't have business colleagues, work friends. It's if you don't have a hobby, you can soon find yourself with not much going on outside of work.
yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, I'm not a member of this group anymore, but I went out last night with them. There's about 8 of people that can make it. We went out to a local Chinese. So they do social events. We went to bowling before. We've been out for escape room. But yeah, so they do social events because as a driving instructor, if you work, come home, you don't go out, you don't see anyone. You just see maybe one, especially me, maybe one pupil a day. I don't go anywhere. So it's a case of, yeah, trying to add that extra social side of you need to have some time to relax or go out and enjoy yourself, I suppose. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll be going. But so getting your students, you obviously done a lot of marketing when you moved to the new area. Where
Yeah.
do you find most of your students come from now? Are they websites, social media, referrals, or
I
do you
mean,
not really track it?
suppose all of them really, but I mean, my website it goes through. I've got another one now. But yeah, so I get, for instance, my website will come up with. So for instance, here's one. So my website, if they click on the website and go on the contact form, it will say their name, email, phone number, nature of inquiry. Okay, book driving lessons or manual lessons, type of lessons, automatic, evenings, their address, their postcode. Hi, I was wondering if you had any availability to start automatic driving lessons from late September. I've driven before. Okay. Preferred contact method is the email. How did you hear about us? Google. Everyone says Google, or maybe friends and family. Because a lot of people are just driving lessons with speech. And I'll come up probably very high on Google because I've got a brand new website. I've got it SEO. It's all the high ranking of what it's supposed to do. So I've invested in myself and my business. Some people through Facebook, they might find my Facebook page. They might find my personal Facebook page that has got me as a driving instructor. I've had people message me through Instagram, Facebook Messenger, the Facebook page Messenger. People just literally phone my number, or they found a business card at a bus stop. from the networking meetings where someone's personally introduced me and said, "Oh, lessons for my niece, lessons for my daughter," or one of my clients, they're looking for lessons. So they personally pass on their phone number and everything. So the recommendations people have passed. Oh, Dave passed with you last week or last month. I want to do lessons. You said you're really good. Yeah, he lied. Don't listen to him. But yeah, so there's not just one way of getting pupils. You've got to kind of try and get all of the different ways. Because if my website suddenly went down tonight, I'll be like, but I still get other avenues. Whereas some say, oh, you only need Facebook for pupils. What if Facebook suddenly said, oh, we're closing Facebook now? It's just going to go to Threads. That's their new thing. Whereas all the driving instructors going to find their pupils now. But yeah, I think for me, multiple avenues of getting pupils and income as well. Because if one stops, we could suddenly adapt overnight. Yeah.
Do you have any other income streams related to the driving? I mean, I did have a Facebook stalk earlier, so I know
Yeah.
I've seen a few things, but any that you're willing to go into?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with Marmalade before, who, let's say if I get a pupil, they're learning to drive their own car, they get an insurance policy and they click on the link and I get a cut. Or Marmalade they stopped doing it now because they couldn't get the cars. But if a pupil bought a car or leased a car through Marmalade, I got 200, I think it's £250. So why not? I just said they're going to get a car anyway. So if they get it through Marmalade, I got a commission. But Marmalade changed their brochures, so I'm now working with Collingwood, and they do each insurance policy. I think it's £20, so they're going to get insurance at some point. So I just give them the leaflets. I get 3 leaflets posted. Because I get maybe a higher price than other local instructors, I say to them, look, I can get you a higher pupil price if you take on any of the pupils I refer to you. If you give me £20 referral fee, well, they get in, I know, £60 an hour instead of 40 for one pupil. That first 1 hour is paid for itself if they do an extra £20. Every single hour after that is pure profit. So on that side of things, driving related, I've done maybe part 2, part 3 instead of lessons with pupils, learner pupils, I suppose. I've done Zoom theory training. So like, for instance, like this, I've done with pupils, especially throughout COVID. Let's do some Zoom training over with the theory. I've sold theory training courses. Not I've made the course, but someone else has made the course. And I've just sold their course and got a cut. So I just log in, download, and cash out my fees. So I think affiliate marketing is a massive thing, whether it be theory, whether it be insurance, or even just like the little circle blind spot mirrors having an affiliate link on Amazon. All my pupils get these brand new blind spot mirrors, and it's £4.99. Every time they buy one, I get 50p of that. I mean, I can't think of it. I mean, there's other bits. There's always other bits I'm interested in and doing. But yeah, I mean, you've seen my face. Maybe you've seen something I haven't said, but yeah.
It's I've been looking at the ideas. I've not pursued anything. I did sign up for one of the insurance companies, but a lot of feedback I was getting was they're quite expensive. I'm like, okay, I won't worry about that one no more then.
Some are expensive in different areas. So there might be that one insurance company in P1 is expensive, but P2 it's a lot cheaper.
Okay.
But also, if you only get one pupil that buys the insurance, if everyone says it's expensive, okay, fine. Oh, it's just an option. And they're probably more expensive because they've got to pay your referral fee.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think the insurance is crazy because it changes across the whole country, and they might find one insurance that's cheaper, And if you get pupils that consistently say, I don't know, marmalade's cheaper in my area, or Collingwood, or insure the box, or contact that company. Look, do you have an affiliate marketing scheme? They're one of the cheapest in your areas, and then use them. But yeah, it's difficult because essentially you're selling something, whether pupil logs in and does the correct details or not. But yeah, it's difficult. But if you've got that pupil already there, you're just reselling something additional. It's like when you go to McDonald's. Oh, yeah, have a Big Mac meal. Is that a large? Oh, yeah, it's large. Do you want a McFlurry? Yeah, I have a McFlurry. Oh, we're doing a donut as well. Oh, yeah, I have a donut. So you're just upselling. Then you've already got that target market. They're already sitting in your car. But yeah, it's difficult, but it's, taking the time and planning out with that.
It's all things that I think are worth bearing in mind as a business because, like you said, just relying on one source of income, for me, it's the driving lessons, and having one or two cancellations in a week, even if they give me it's outside of my notice, I can't always fill the space, especially at the minute, school holidays. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
students are away on holiday and doing whatever else. So my diary is looking a little bit quieter, which is all right. I spend time with the kids. I'm not too worried. But the affiliate marketing is something that I need to spend more time looking into and dealing with, which I'm going to do. You've inspired me. Let's go and figure out what else I can do. Um, so yeah, it's good. Have you found the way you run it, people go to a cheaper option as a business, or because you're, from the sounds of it, charging a little more than the going average?
yeah.
That's my fear, is putting my prices up. Um, what can I offer more, or how can I justify why I'm more expensive than other people? And there's a few courses I'm looking to do and a few things that I want to do. But how do you find charging more?
It's. I think the funny thing is, so my story as such was when I first trained, I was with a franchise, um, and it wasn't a big franchise. It wasn't a small one. There was, they had about maybe 30 instructors when I joined. But their prices were £22 an hour daytime, evenings, weekends, £24 an hour. And then after a while, they put it to 23 and 25. Okay, great. Then I left and I thought I adapt their prices. And then I got busy. I put it up to, I think, 25, and then evenings 27. Still busy. So I went to, I think, 30 and then 35. So then I kind of, as I went through teaching, I enjoyed it, and I've went through things like Intelligent Instructor Award, so put myself forward or been nominated for an award, and had pupils put why they think I should win. I won a competition to be featured in Costco magazine, which was great. So I can say, look, I'm in the magazine, I'm in print. I put a post up on my Facebook business page about one of my local test centers was one of the lowest pass rates in the country. I got contacted by someone who said, do you want to be on BBC Radio London radio? So yeah, why not? I'll be home at this time. So they phone you up and you can hear in the background. So I can say I've been interviewed on BBC Radio London. So I kind of, what my achievements are such, what my training is, I'm a proactive driving instructor. I'm a natural salesperson at the end of the day anyway. But I say, look, yes, my lessons prices may be higher, but I'm going to be able to teach you in a shorter space of time. We're going to be doing as much training as we can on the move. Well, yeah, sometimes you might need to do diagrams and show you things, but I'll kind of play on, oh, you may have been with another instructor before, with a franchise, and they sit at the side of the road for half an hour. Oh, yeah. Or they've done the same thing again and again, repeating the process. Yeah, I felt like they was just wasting my time, or, I didn't even get into third gear until lesson 7. But, sometimes just being even average or okay at your job puts you above some of the ones that, because there's always going to be any industry some really terrible people. But putting yourself above and getting recommended and having also how I promoted the pupils that passed, maybe take a picture, put it on Facebook, great. But if I did a video of a pupil, them going home, knocking on the door, oh, mum, I passed, yeah, they hug each other. And people love watching that. So that puts me above. Do an interview with a pupil. Oh, here you go. How did you find the driving test today? Oh, yeah, it's good. I was a bit nervous, but the examiner was talking to me. I did the reverse parallel park, and they asked me the show me and tell me question, and they did. I pulled up on the left about 5 or 6 times. It was more than I was thinking. I thought, and I went around that roundabout that he said that they might go around. I didn't like that roundabout, and but yeah, there was a bus broken down in the middle of the road, and I had to deal with that. And so it's getting that experience. Oh, what advice would you give someone? Oh, yeah, listen to an instructor. I just took my time and breathed, and I stayed calm. And at one point, I thought I failed my test, so I didn't worry anymore. So then I passed. Because it's all well and good taking my advice, but then, well, hang on, they've just passed their test. What advice would they give? And when I moved up to the area I'm at now, I just thought, well, hang on, I'm too busy to take pupils on for a few months. I'll put the prices up a bit, see what happens. But because of then I can take on maybe it was my better availability, maybe it was how I promote myself and why I'm an award-winning instructor, or because I'm now doing intensive courses can demand a higher price, or I just put the price as the whole package, so they don't really look at the price per hour. I'm selling a course. The 47 hours is 2,700. If they sit and break down the price, they're like, okay, well, I've got my hours booked in, I've got the test. Yep, here's the money. No one maybe kind of breaks it down, or they just think they've paid for a service, they've got all their lessons booked in. I think pupils can't be bothered with the admin as well. I can do Tuesdays. Oh, I can't do Tuesdays. I can do Wednesdays. And then backwards and forwards and messaging. And maybe you're on a lesson, you can't answer the phone. So they can't be, I've got to wait 2 hours for him to answer his phone, this lazy driving instructor. Whereas if I'm a customer, I want to phone someone up. I want to book in. I want to book in now. I don't want to wait. So, I can just have my dates on notepad on my phone and just copy and paste. Let me know which dates you want, book in. I'll tell you total price. That's it, it's booked in.
It cuts out a lot of admin for you there from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of that to and fro that you say about I'm in conversations with a few people at the minute about lessons and availability. And something I've been questioning as well is students that are with me at the minute don't really know how long they're going to be with me and how long it's actually going to cost, because we're doing one lesson a week at 90 minutes and trying to get a package pieced together, like you said. So people aren't really, they're getting a package, they're getting all of it. It's right, this is my test date, these are where my lessons are, it's done, and no worrying. Not like, oh, wait a minute, I'm being called in, I've got this appointment, I can't do that Tuesday, can we do Wednesday afternoon? And then you start trying to change your diary around, and it's like, well, I can move this person here and this person there, and it's like Jenga with total drive at times.
I haven't missed that. I think before when I was doing, I was like, okay, now I've got to go here, or especially the area you cover. If it's more than a few miles radius, I can't do that Tuesday with that pupil because they're a bit far out and it's going to take me too long to get there, and I want to get here, and it's just a headache. So yeah, it's just means it's easy for me. I just do one lesson, one day, one postcode.
Can you do you find that you cover a larger area given you're only commuting there and back? So do you have a wider radius that you're willing to cover working the way you work?
Yeah. I mean, originally, because where I live in a little village, and the closest town is Wisbech or March, so they're about 5 miles one way, 5 miles the other way. Um, so I don't really want to go out of those villages, but I had someone contact me who's about, I don't know, maybe 15 miles away. So it'll take me about 20, 30 minutes to get there. So I just kind of said I could do it. It's a little bit far out of the way, but I put the price up again. Um, so I said, okay, they haven't got a test book, this person, but they wanted to do some lessons while they're home over time and then they're going to college or sixth form. So I gave them a price for, I think, what was it, 14 hours or something. So I said, this is the price, bank transfer me. So literally the next day, bank transferred over, booked in a lesson. So it's, I would say, probably going to take me maybe 25 minutes to get there. But then I've got this pupil 10 till 4. They've paid a higher price, so it covers my extra travel time and the fuel costs. But also, you get bored of the same area and location all the time, so you want to experience something new. Yeah, you're a business and you want to try and hone down your mileage and try and keep in the fuel costs, but you get bored sometimes and you think, oh, let's go visit this, let's do that, and you know, we're going to do exactly the same test route. No, let's change it up. Let's turn down this road. Let's turn right here. And, you've got to change it up so you don't go bored doing exactly the same left turn each day of each time. And yeah.
Sounds a lot easier to manage. And it's interesting. It's something that I'm going to look into, see how I can manage it and maybe a crossover, because at the minute it's quite difficult when I've got 4 or 5 different students a day. But with you teach both manual and automatic, are you finding that there's more of a requirement at the minute for automatic? I'm getting more inquiries for automatic, yet I don't have an automatic car yet.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, originally I got the automatic car I've got from March last year on the basis that, because it was PCP, it's a 10,000 mile per year limit, or you either give the car back or pay a fee or buy the car and so on like that. So I thought, okay, originally I'd just do Monday as the automatic day, but I get so many inquiries. I thought, okay, well, I'll move it Monday and Tuesday. Then it kind of, now, because I'm doing courses, I find rarely now I'm actually doing manual anymore.
Okay.
To the point where I've had the car about a year and a half. It's now about 30,000 miles, so it's over the mileage. So I'm having to think of a point of either extending the PCP deal or trading in, get a different car, and so on and so forth. But that's, not a terrible problem. I'll just get a new car or whatever deal I can do. Get a new, or I was thinking, why not get a brand new car or maybe go electric if I'm earning the money and get a fancy car. But it's a case of, when I think I spoke to one driving instructor a few years ago, and he said, because he does both manual and automatic, and he said when he took on automatic, his lessons, he could do 14 hours a day. I wouldn't advise that to anyone, but that's how busy he was. And I think years ago, very, very few instructors used to do automatic. You'd be hard pushed to find someone, because everyone's like, no, don't do automatic. It's useless. You get a proper license, go manual. Whereas nowadays, I think there's the big electric boom. A lot more people are doing automatic because there's hybrid. You're saving on fuel costs. But since I did automatic, I get a lot more people that say, I've been on the waiting list for a year. I couldn't find an automatic driving instructor. I get a lot more dyslexic, dyspraxic, autism, disabilities, or just maybe someone who tried manual. Like, for instance, I had a lesson this evening. She'd done about maybe 20, 30 hours with a manual and driving instructor before they said, I know this other local driving instructor is very good. But he said, maybe you should just try automatic. So we did a lesson tonight, and it just made sense for her. She's not worried about, okay, third gear back to second. Oh, get off the clutch. I'm still on the clutch. I'm coasting. Oh, the roundabout. Oh. Mm-hmm. and it's like a go-kart. It's a lot easier. She's just braking, accelerating. It takes away that extra planning element. Um, and usually it is a case of automatic cars used to be um, less fuel efficient, whereas now the hybrids, they are better of economy, but you can charge a higher price because you're more in demand. So I'm always thinking of it as what's the profit margins, same as like, I know McDonald's, how many fries can we sell? How many burgers? And what's the profit margin? If it's 12p for a Big Mac bun and we sell it for 1.99 for the ingredients, what's the bottom line? But yeah, it's a case of, at the end of the day, how much money can I make? But you know, yes, I'm a business, but I'm still a person. And you're selling business to customer. You're not selling business to business. Whereas fleet work, they don't really care the price because you're bidding for a contract. As long as they get the work, as long as it's not, well, actually, even some of the fleet work contracts, they just don't care. They need someone to get in. Like we all heard about the whole PPE contracts and all that. That was the fun fiasco. But yeah, they need the service. You're providing the service. If they're happy to pay the prices, is it a rip-off or is it they want a service, you're providing the service, they pay for it, fine. Yeah. But automatic has meant that I've been able to massively expand my business to do more hours, more pupils, to a whole nother market as well.
Yeah, it's something I'm looking at towards the end of the year, I think, is getting an automatic running both. And then I've got the question, well, not to you, but in my head at the minute is how do I transition or balance? And then it's like, well, do I do mornings? Do I do afternoons? Do I do a day at a time? And then I've got my students. And it's like, how am I going to integrate auto lessons with my current diary that's full? But that's where the way you're managing your diary seems a fairly smooth
It's
transition between both.
Yeah, you don't want to do manual in the morning, go home, swap over cars, go out because you're traveling back and forth. Is that travel time? Okay, yeah, let's say have a lunch break, you go home, toilet break, have some food, and then go out. But that's still that dead time. Um, Whereas, you've got two cars, you've got two insurance policies, you've got two road tax, you've got two fuel, you've got two tire maintenance. So the costs go up, but then, okay, you've got more target market. Whereas I've had a few situations where I've changed over cars, but then maybe wife's driving and put the child seats in one, take out. So it takes me 5 minutes to change over, but I've just got to make sure she's at home and then she's not gone out. And so it's a bit of pre-planning. But now if I've got Monday's manual, Tuesday's automatic, I'm not changing cars. It's a case of you have to kind of do only one car a day. You can change over, but it's going to be an annoying thing and it's going to be a hassle. But ideally, just have one car is the best option. So I know some instructors that have just gone fully automatic. They've had a cut-off date and said, I'm getting the automatic car in April the 7th. So you've got 3 months to pass your test. Otherwise, I'll just have to recommend you to someone else who does manual, or leave manual, come with me, stay with me. You're an instructor you've known, we do automatic lessons. The benefit is you pass an automatic, you never need to do the theory test again. If you wanted to do manual, you could always book a driving test. You have to do it over the phone. But you've got a year of experience maybe of driving your own automatic car. Then you can move on and do that. So you've got your confidence. Yeah, so it's yeah, I think it's a case of it's just finding what works best and either the cut-off point or one day one day the other.
I think, yeah, for me, I'm turning down as many inquiries automatic as manual at the minute. So it's the
But
needs there. It's how I utilize that
Oh,
need. I'll figure it out. Maybe I just want a nice new flash car that's an automatic and easy to drive.
when I didn't do automatic, I had another instructor that I know who did only automatic, and I'd refer him work. And if he got a pupil booked in and they paid for 10 hours, he'd transfer me £20. So, I'd say, here's the pupil's details, you book them in. So he didn't really do any marketing or anything. I did, but he'd keep getting business. So he's like, yeah, I'm busy, great. So it's kind of affiliate marketing as such, but to other driving instructors, they're happy to pay you the money because they've got a pupil that's just paid them £600 for 10 hours, let's say. Yeah, what's £20 out of the 600? I'm happy to pay that. I've had to pay for a website or pay for Facebook adverts or leaflets or flyers. Yeah, I'm paying another driving instructor because where do pupils book in lessons with driving instructors? So it's just passing work round.
Yeah.
But yeah, why not? Um,
So how long have you been doing this as a driving instructor?
about 12 years now. But yeah, so 2000, I think about 2008 or something like that. That was when I kind of qualified.
What did you
No,
do before it? It's because you seem to, I don't know whether you've progressed to where you're at now or whether you came with the mindset that you have that's very much business orientated and the focus is on that. I came into this for a few things, but I enjoy teaching as well. And I don't come from a business background. So it's interesting to hear your perspective on it.
yeah. I mean, before this, I've done all sorts of jobs. I've done Tesco's, I've done QD retail, I've done cafes, restaurants, bar works, nightclubs. Um, I've done phone sales where I was selling windows over the phone, door to door windows. Hi there, yeah, I've just come from Anglian Windows and have a little chat. No, shut the door. And then, but yeah, I've done all sorts of kind of I don't know, a paper round for a bit, delivering leaflets and all sorts of different work. But I just saw an advert on TV. It must have been one of the AA or BSM. Um, but I looked into it. I found a company that did free training on the basis that once you qualify, you work for them for 6 months. I was like, yeah, why not? I'm free training. And so did it, qualified and stayed with them for a couple of years, build up my confidence and then went independent and just invested in myself, did training courses and yeah, went from there really and I haven't looked back.
Yeah, it's you mentioned that you'd done business at college and university as well, did you? Do you
Yeah.
think that's what set you up to be doing what you're doing now? Because you seem to be quite out there and it is very much business focused. I'm sure your lessons are similar to most other driving instructors' lessons, but the background and the business you're doing seems, from what I'm doing, you're treating it a lot different.
Yeah, I think it's because I've done that, I'm thinking of it like as a business side, whereas like you mentioned before about someone who's semi-retired and well, I only need to do 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, so they're not worried. Just a bit of pocket money is they've got their early retirement pension, but they want an extra top up. And whereas, now I've got a family, I've got a wife and two children, I've got a mortgage, I've got gas, electric, well, not gas, I'm on oil boiler, but yeah, I've got all these bills to pay. I want to go on holiday. I want to have a flash new car. Oh, I've got a tax bill. I better kind of put the car offset and, you know, it kind of got to a point of the previous tax year just gone. I was worried that I was going to hit the VAT level. So um, spoke to my accountant and he said, look, be careful, make sure you're doing your books and basically don't take in too much money in a short space of time because it's a rolling 12 months. Otherwise, obviously, VAT registered, a limited company, and so it can be the downside of being too busy, or not so much too busy, too profitable. Your turnover, if it's too high, then you're going to screw yourself over as such. um, or just planning in advance so you are VAT registered, but then you find a way of working with that. But in years to come, if inflation keeps going up the way it is, most driving instructors are maybe going to have to go VAT registered unless they raise the cap. Because if a loaf of bread now is, I don't know, £2, in 4 months' time it won't be £4, £5. You know, it, things are going to balance out.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, we could do that rabbit hole with inflation and what we need to do, but I don't know. I don't want to be here all night. We've got as much time as we need, but the amount of inflation is something that is making me question my lesson prices at the minute, because on one hand it's like everything, all of my bills are getting more expensive, but then so is everyone else's. Who's going to pay? So I think I need to start, like you've been saying, treating it more like a business. And I don't have a website. I have Facebook and referrals. I don't have any branding on my car. And since we've come out of COVID, it's not really been needed, because
Yeah.
all the 17-year-olds that wanted to drive couldn't. And that's going to start drying up. If for nothing else, then they can't get a driving test for the next 6 months. So it's then I need to start looking more at branding, becoming more professional as a business, opposed to who's your driving instructor, Josh. You got any details for him? You'll find him on Facebook if you know how to spell his surname.
Yeah. I think as well, it's a case of, you said, well, have you asked the pupils if they're prepared to pay more? Because you're doing their thinking for them. Whereas if you said, look, I'm with everything going up, if I put my prices from 35 to £40 an hour, and they're like, yeah, that's reasonable. Everything else is going up. And, people kind of maybe expect that nowadays. Or if you said to them, look, I'm putting my prices up, but if you pay for 10, 20, 30 hours in advance, I'll do it at the old price. And then once that's finished, then you'll be on the new price. They're like, oh, cool, I'm going to save myself some money. I'll pay in advance the old price. Have a cut-off period. So look, I've given you a month's notice. The prices are going up. Whether it's a case of maybe your prices go up, but now I include theory training in all my lessons. I've got, I know, pamphlet packs that include the highway code. Or so, yes, your lesson prices go up, but you buy each pupil a highway code. You give them a book of road signs. So, oh, okay, I'm paying more, but oh, look at this free book I've got. It's not free; they've paid for it, but it's a case of what added value have you given them for the extra price hike as such. Yeah, at the end of the day, they're paying for a service and not a product. But yeah, why are you better than the next local instructor as such? How are you promoting yourself to your pupils?
So what advice would you give to people that are new to the industry around the business side of it?
Yeah, so well, I literally had a meeting with a driving instructor who I saw him posted on Facebook, and he's fairly new. He passed his part 3 maybe a couple of months ago. So we met up in a local Weatherspoons, had some food, was chatting, and he was like, "Oh, I used to be a lorry driver, but I left. I had enough." And he's obviously working all the hours to pay off debts to get this brand new car, to get this business up and running. And he's traveling 20, 30-mile radius just to do a lesson here, to do a lesson next. Like, oh, I need to book in. I was like, well, look, if I can get you pupils at a higher price and hone you in a local area, not only are you saving on fuel, you're getting my recommendations. All I need is my cut as such. But it's a case of, why would pupils book in with you as opposed to someone else? Why would you book with this plumber? Why would you, buy that paint from there? Why would you as a customer buy for yourself anyway? What are you going to do to make you more of an appeal than someone else? You've got to think of yourself as you're a shop window. Why are you going to go into your own shop? Why is a customer going to come into your shop? Um, at the end of the day, people want to book driving lessons because they want to learn to drive to pass a test. Yes, they want to be confident and drive independently. The parents want them to safe, but the 17-year-olds are like, yeah, I don't care about being safe. I want to drive. I want to go McDonald's drive-through. I want to pick up my girlfriend. And so it depends who's paying, first of all. If the parents are paying, they're happy to pay more. Maybe you can meet up with a parent before booking them in and say, oh, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Yes, I'm going to be your daughter's driving instructor. And this is the car they're going to be driving. Oh, yeah, yeah. She said it was a Ford. No, no, it's a Vauxhall. Yeah, um, you know, go have a cup of tea, sit down, have some biscuits. People buy from people. If I just, if I get a phone call, hi, I'm from Dave from Homewood Insurance. Yeah. But if you actually met someone, it's very hard to say no to someone face to face, or you put down a package, these are the price of the lessons. It's, oh, okay, we'll let you know how we get on. Okay, that's free time that, you haven't been paid for, but you're getting that personal approach. And because of that, people may be more happy to pay a higher price, or because they see you've gone out of your way to introduce yourself, and maybe they're nervous. They're going to sit in a car with a strange man. They're like, oh, they see you and they can be like, oh, okay, yeah. That's who they are, and they kind of put at ease. Or like for me, I've got pictures, I've got videos of me on social media, so they can see me in action as such, and kind of get to know me before actually getting to know me. At the end of the day, your biggest cost of your car, all well and good getting a brand new car, but you're paying for it. If you can get something second hand, or you get a previous driving instructor's car or something like that, you're saving money. But then how are you going to get those pupils? If you're with a franchise, they're doing it for you. But if you go independent, why are you going to book in lessons with someone else? Where are you going to search? Everyone just searches Google driving lessons near me. You might be on someone else's Facebook. Also, when you first start becoming a driving instructor, you've got people you know. Hi, did you know I've recently become a driving instructor? Do you or someone you know want driving lessons? Oh, that's good to know. I don't myself, but my niece does, my nephew does, my uncle's. He was a driving instructor, but he retired. We didn't know anyone else. You've really got a kind of network of people that you can branch out to, and not so much sell to, but just say, oh, by the way, I'm a local small business. Yeah, I'm trying to get pupils booked in. You've got to kind of sell yourself. But you do the part one, part two, part three to train to teach, but there's very little out there of training to business. Booking lessons, yeah, okay, this is price, this is date, booking, and what are you doing to make yourself for sale as such? It's like when you're buying a house, no one wants to go look around the house with just mess everywhere. They dress the house, they stage it so they can get the highest asking price. Why are you staging yourself? What are you doing to make yourself stand out?
There's a lot I've taken from that, because I've fallen into the trap of, I've got a Facebook page. I get the odd message, it's working. But looking now for the more long term, I need to be more like a business and have that appeal rather than just a Facebook page, because that's the only way people can get hold of me, is either my current students or my Facebook page. And I put a post out, I think it was probably a couple of months back now. My Facebook Messenger stopped working. So
Yeah,
I couldn't get any messages, couldn't message people. So yeah, there's I have Instagram, but I don't use it. I'm not on Threads yet. I maybe pursue that and get in there. I would say early, but I think I'm probably late to that one now as well. I mean, I've started a podcast, so we've got something going.
People might search
Um,
and then find you and then be like, oh, he's a driving instructor. Oh, yeah, I need driving lessons.
yeah, there we go. Maybe I'll put some good tags in this when it goes out, if anyone needs driving lessons. But yeah, it's there's not a lot through training. I didn't get much through my training around the business side of it, but I did my training with a big franchise. And they would have done all of my marketing and got my students. Had I have took the franchise with them, I didn't. I figured I could sort it all out on my own. So maybe that's my doing, and I should have took some business courses when I left my full-time job to do this. What are your plans going forward then? Do you work with PDIs? You've mentioned training them. How's that working out for you?
I mean, I've done bits in the past. Not much. I mean, to be fair, I enjoy learner lessons. Um, but I've got a PDI at the moment who's in Enfield where I used to live. So they're like as a franchise, they're paying me a monthly fee and I'm getting them pupils. Um, so hopefully they pass their part three, they qualify, and then I've got another one at the moment who's passed his part two in a similar area. Um, and he is in the process of deciding whether he wants to do 3 lessons with local family and then pass his part three and then go that way, then decide whether he's going to buy a car or lease a car and all that. Because then if you, oh, part two, oh yeah, I get a car. Oh, I found my part three. And oh, hang on, what do I do with this car now? Um, but ideally take on more driving instructors. At the moment, it's looking like I'm going to have 2 in the area that I used to live, but none in the area I am now. Um, Ideally, do less hours that I'm doing. Maybe, I mean, ideally, do Monday to Thursday, 10 till 4, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Um, have different avenues of money coming in, be it online, be it affiliate, be it selling on Amazon, eBay, be it trading online. Um, but yeah, eventually maybe not work at all and have enough money that I've built up. I can, I know, a nicer and go on holiday. You know, who knows? Um, Maybe I'll be a millionaire.
One day, that's the goal for all of us, isn't it? But I need to do something with my business before I can achieve that, or wait for crypto to go on another good run, and then I'll be all right.
That's it. Yeah, but who knows?
We'll figure it out. Is there anything else you want to add? Go through with I don't know how long we've been on now, but there's a lot
Awesome.
of really interesting stuff that you've gone through there it's helping me, so hopefully anyone watching is going to get some good benefit from it, or maybe it just makes them think of things slightly differently. But anything else that you'd like to share, get out?
Yeah, I think it's a case of I'm more than happy to be contacted by anyone. My phone number and everything's all over social media. I get constant phone calls from people trying to sell me stuff. But yeah, I'm more than happy to people to contact me. So whether someone's thinking of becoming a driving instructor, already a driving instructor, I'm more than happy to give free advice. Whether they take it or not is a different story. Um, but yeah, if they want training or if they want, help, I'm happy to go out there. And if obviously they want lessons further on, I'm happy to go out there. Um, but I think it's just a case of that don't being afraid to ask, because if you think, oh, I just go with this, or like you said, go with your franchise, do the training with them, and it's like, oh, maybe I should have done some research, maybe I should have done that. It's all well and good thinking in hindsight, but do as much research as you can if you're looking at joining this industry, or why are you going to join this industry? Oh, it's a money maker. Well, yeah, but you've got to enjoy teaching. Otherwise, you're going to get frustrated with pupils when they keep stalling your car, or they're going to try and ram into a lamppost. Uh, so do your research first, see what you want to do, and yeah, ask people questions. And that's it, really.
That was one of the reasons that I started this. I know we've discussed a bit of why I started it, but it was that I didn't do the research. I don't know whether people do more or less than me. But there wasn't that much readily available information other than typing in Google, I want to be a driving instructor. And then you get the usual top ranking SEO, massive marketing budget. And it's like, well, what I'll do is I'll ring all 4 or 5 of them and I'll go with the cheapest one. And then I've saved myself some money. And I don't think it is the cheapest. It might be on the surface, but I certainly think having, like yourself, people that you can reach out to offering advice is that. I wish I'd have done it when I started the process. Just speak to people in the industry. I don't think I'd spoke to a driving instructor before I'd paid for my training and decided this was what I was going to go and do. And if I'd have reached out to just a few instructors and got in a few of the Facebook groups and looked around a little deeper, I might have gone on a slightly different training path than I did. So hopefully someone will find this. Maybe they'll reach out to you and you can get those driving instructors on the go around your area, not your old area.
Yeah, well, I still enjoy it, but like I say, I'm happy to help if someone wants to contact me, by all means. But yeah, it's a pleasure.
It's been really good. Thank you very much for your time tonight, Anthony. I've really enjoyed it. We'll get some info put in the description. So if anyone wants to reach you there, we'll get your website put in there and stuff like that. But thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
And you.